Ukraine, a real problem. April 21st, 2009. Due to the fact that I am influential in the policy of the world in this era to any extent and by virtue of any possible means, while attempting to contribute in creating a free and secure world in order that peoples enjoy freedom and security and my people in a part herein, by this way and principle I put forth my opinion regarding the dangerous international issues and problems whenever I am able, hoping that this shall positively affect the international policy. In this article, I shall treat Ukraine, which I consider to be a real problem. Ukraine is considered now a sovereign independent state and is a member in the United Nations. But all this is not enough to the Ukrainians. Why? The reason is the history of Ukraine, but rather the history of the region that goes back to more than 1,000 years, whereas Russia had not been like it is now, nor Ukraine. Yet it was called Kiev, Russia. Ukrainians say that it is Ukraine that is the cradle as a matter of pride of their past. Ukrainians say that demographically joint history of the region has made it difficult for their brothers Russians to look at Ukraine as a state. They also say that there has been an obliteration of the Ukrainian language during the elapsed 200 years. They also say, that is to say the Ukrainians, that the history of Ukraine is also struggle for the sake of independence that persisted hundreds of years. They got their independence 5 times before the current one, but they say that this independence shall not last. Why? Because there were no guarantees for this independence. The first independence of the state of Ukraine as an independent republic, as they say, has lasted 6 months. The second time it has lasted 3 months. There was an independence one of these times that lasted 18 hours only. Officially, the Russians are not opposed to the independence of Ukraine, yet they recognize that Ukraine is a sovereign independent state and a neighbor and sister. So, what is the real dangerous problem of the matter? The dangerous problem is that Ukraine needs international guarantees for its independence so that it shall not lose it once more, as it says. But these guarantees are very difficult and very dangerous with regards to Russia, and this is the core of the problem and its dangerousness. What Russia perceives as dangerous for its security and independence is seen by Ukraine as the guarantee of its security, and this independence of it is the basis of the problem, and here is the strong discrepancy in the policy of both countries. Ukraine clearly needs to join the European Union and the North Atlantic Alliance. It considers this as the secure guarantee of its independence. In fact, it is a guarantee against Russia, not against any other country, while the Russians say these guarantees claimed by Ukraine are very dangerous challenges to the security of Russia, and they also say there is no need for them because Russia recognizes Ukraine as a sovereign independent state. In reality, and in spite of the point of view of both parties, the matter is extremely dangerous and is a real problem. If NATO attained Ukraine, that means the knocking on Moscow's door. If the enemy knocked at the door of your room, either you open for him to enter or he may break the door. This is the expected dangerous matter. On the other hand, in order to reassure its sister Russia, Ukraine responds to this apprehension, saying that Ukraine constitution does not allow the granting of foreign military bases on the Ukrainian territory. Ukraine sees, therefore, that there is no need for fear as long as the bases are not permitted in Ukraine. But Russia responds to that, saying that danger does not depend on the existence or inexistence of the military bases. Yet, the Ukrainian territories shall be in this case included in the territories of Atlantic Alliance, and the alliance shall exist on these territories even without fixed bases, and that the Ukrainian military forces shall also make part of the forces of the countries members in the alliance. This matter is inadmissible to Russia because it directly affects, in a dangerous and inadmissible way, its security, while the Ukrainians ascertain that they claim international guarantees for their independence only, and they do not ask for fetching risks to Russia. And they are ready to sign any document with the Russians to undertake that Ukraine shall not be a source of danger to them. But the Russians perceive that danger is present by just the fact that Russia became a member in an alliance that is considered an enemy to Russia, which is NATO. The Ukrainians say, we do nothing against Russia, but we do what is in the interest of Ukraine. Besides this basic problem, there are other secondary problems, but they are worse. If they are not resolved, they may lead to unpraised complications. Solving them may face numerous difficulties. The Ukrainians describe them as being thorny problems like the problem of Tuzla Island, the continental shelf, the delimitation of borders, and Sevastopol city. The Russian military base and what happened on both 1932 and 1933, Story of Famine, which the Ukrainians say is a condemnation of the odious past, but not a condemnation of Russia. There is also Al-Karaum Peninsula. It is known that approximately 20% of the Ukraine population are Russians. Such seems to be the real Ukrainian problem. I have intended to present it and clarify it after my first visit to Russia after the disunion of the Soviet Union and my visit to Ukraine for the first time after I have declared that it is an independent state, and I meant thereby that all parties are informed, and this may help to appraise positions and obstacles before adopting policies that may harm international peace, which is important for my country as it is important for all peoples. Such policies may harm the concerned parties also. So, the concerned parties are very important on the globe, and their clash may inevitably wrong both international security and peace. They are Russia, the European Union, and NATO.